to go. Scott O'Neill driving his heart out up in front, looking for third. They'll come to the white flag. Final lap for Devin Smith. Andrew Lively to the inside. Scott O'Neill throws the block. Lively gives him a hi, how you doing? Down the back straightaway for the final time. Lively sideways. Devin Smith is going to come to the flag first. Who's it going to be for third, though? Checkered flag, Scott O'Neill. We will run. Give it up for Scott O'Neill. Heat race win, and then a podium finish. How awesome is this?
Oh, it's rare. This Mason Motorsports Chevrolet's kicking ass. It's getting there. We just got 2 more positions to go.
You were battling with Andrew Lively at the end, his first ever late model start. I know he wanted it bad, you wanted it bad. How hard did you drive those last few laps?
I was driving the wheels off her. If you see me go sideways, I was holding on, but she's getting loose.
What do we got to do to get those other 2 spots?
I don't know. We'll try something, though, for sure.
And I know you're at camp celebrating a birthday this week, too.
Yeah, that's right. Happy 12th birthday, Chase.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Tim.
Scott O'Neill is third. And over to Alex Johnson. You're turning into Craig Swanwhite. It's another second-place finish.
Yeah, that's 3 in a row for sure, but I'll take it. You know, we're close. Like, we were close to Devin there tonight. Devin was better than us, but first of all, I got to congratulate this Mason Motorsports car, man. I ran out of their shop for a lot of years, and actually I had the privilege to paint that this year, so I'm proud of Scott and Wes. It's good to see them up front, and, you know, that gives them a little bit of encouragement here to keep going, and I don't think they're far off, and they might get a feature win maybe this summer.
Now you can hear us. Welcome to Tim's Corner Live, episode number 27. Tim Terry, Denver Matchett, Dylan Langell along for the ride with you boys. We have a busy show, but before we get to that, what we just saw coming off of that was pretty neat. Scott O'Neill getting a third-place finish at Scotia Speedworld on the weekend. Obviously, Dylan, you watched a little bit of the race. It was a little bit of a war in that 38-lap race, but at the end of it, Andrew Lively and the 96 of Scott O'Neill going at it for third, both looking for that coveted podium position. And obviously Scott taking it away. So that was kind of neat. And we'll talk to one of the guys that was a part of that podium in just a few moments' time, Alex Johnson. But Dylan, let's start with the important news, because just a couple of moments ago, you're going to be busy on Speed Weekend, apparently.
Earth-shattering news before we get going. You know, this has been in the works for a few weeks here. There's been a lot of demand for this series coming to Speed Weekend, but the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics, powered by Conrad Brothers Limited, coming to Speed Weekend, Labor Day weekend at Speedway 660 for the very first time. So we're subbing this for our Riverside date that we would have had coming up. A couple of changes here and there. Is Cody Byrne's microphone working on the island?
Yeah, there we go. We got it.
Like I was saying, we're swapping that out for a Riverside date, so we're not going to be at the IWK 250 weekend, but the week before, we're going to be at Speed Weekend on the Sunday show before the 250 and the other races, I should say. Boys, I'm fired up for this. We get to bring this new tour to another track here in the Maritimes. We did a great show at Oyster Bed a few weeks ago. We're going to be at Scotia Speedworld this weekend with the Maritime Car Wash Classic. And then our next race after that, Speed Weekend, Sunday, September 6th. My word, am I excited.
Denver, he's never been to Speed Weekend. I think he's in for an eye-opener.
He sure is, Tim. And I mean, as if there wasn't enough reasons to go to Speed Weekend at Speedway 660, just another drop in the bucket for what a phenomenal weekend that is. And, you know, Dylan Langell is in for a surprise. We tried to get him here last year and it wasn't in the cards. So Speed Weekend 2021, I guess Dylan's first trip to Speed Weekend. It's going to be an exciting one. Lots of action going to be on the track here on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, if you just missed it last weekend, Hazard's going to be doing a concert on Friday night in Turn 5 after the Atlantic Modified Tour and the Fredericton Gun Shop Sharpshooters. Busy weekend for the Passion Flooring and Interiors East Coast Mini Stock Tour, the Maritime League of Legends Tour, and the Tim's Corner Motorsports Bandolero Blast, because they're going to be running both Saturday and Sunday. Got some street stock action on the weekend. We've got some pro stocks. We got all that fun stuff to come as well. So keep your tabs and keep your eyes on Tim's Corner and Speedway 660 for all that information. We'll remind you we're live and interactive here this evening as well. Drop us a question or a comment for any of our guests. We got Cody Byrne coming up in a moment. We have we also coming up the road. We got some great guests at the end of the show as well with Caleb Urquhart talking about the Urquhart Construction 100, the Maritime Street Stock Series race number 3. So going to be a busy night, but let's dive right into it, because speaking of busy, we have a triple header weekend at Scotia Speedworld, and we are going to chat with a guy that has done a couple of races already at his home track this season, and he's finished second in every single one of them. It's the driver of the Dave Horn Automotive, Horn Brothers Towing, Pizza Perfect, Dreams Take Flight number 14. In the Fleet Break Atlantic Sportsman Division, it's Alex Johnson. Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having us.
So we kind of joked and we kind of saw it off the top of the show. You're kind of mimicking Craig Slonwhite this year, second place every time we come out to the racetrack. Consistency is great, but what do we got to do to win one of these things this weekend?
Just keep digging away. I feel we're getting faster every week, and second's not a bad finish. With 3 of them in a row, we're pretty happy with that. It's better than what we thought we'd be doing at this point, but hopefully in the next few weeks we can get it a little bit quicker and get a win.
We're live and interactive, so be sure to drop us a comment for Alex, and we'll get it on the show here this evening. Dylan Langel's taking care of social. We forgot to mention, Denver, that Brandon Campbell is also here. Brandon, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so he's also on social media tonight. So Dylan's got an apprentice over there. But Alex, it was a weird way to kind of start the season with the third wave of COVID. We kind of got started late, and then all of a sudden we start the season with the Shriners Classic. So I guess we'll go back to the start of this season. After everything settled post-race, you finished in second. I know that race means a lot to you as much as it does to everybody else at the racetrack. What did it mean to come home with another runner-up finish in the Classic?
It felt good, but really like to win one of these years. And but I mean, everybody, when it comes to the Shriners, they all want the same thing. Everybody's super fast, it seems, for that race. And the 2 cars that were up front until after tech, them 2 cars we had nothing for. We were happy with our 3rd place finish, and then we ended up with second after post-race tech, and I'm pretty happy with that.
And not knowing what this season was going to hold, and then all of a sudden on week number 2, or for you guys week number 1, saying, hey, we're going to run for points. Did it change the mentality at all? You're going to be there every single week, but did it change that mentality at all, knowing that we're going to run for points now?
Yeah, not really. Like, we didn't really plan on, to be honest, to get into a points battle this year. We were just hoping to have some fun where the season started late, and now with 3 second places, we're kind of right there. So we're not going to think about it too much. We still want to have fun with it. But, it's in our back of our minds, of course, and we just keep plugging away and see where we end up with probably 2 weeks to go and go from there.
So the late model sportsman, obviously, you've been in the division for a little while, but let's step back. For those that don't know Alex Johnson, how did you get your start in racing?
To be honest, as a kid, I worked out of the Mason Motorsports shop. I was up there probably from 10 years old right through, and when I was 14, actually, that's when they started the Thunder class at Scotia. And at 14, I was working up there full-time kind of in the summers. So I built the car, my dad drove it. And then as soon as I turned 16, I get in behind the wheel in the Thunder cars and then moved to hobby stock, then to sportsman.
And you had some success moving up through the ranks. You had a lot of success in the hobby stock too, didn't you?
Yep, we did. Hobby stock, the last few years, we were one of the cars to beat every week. And, that was one of the fun classes, steel bodies, where you could still rub a little bit without costing you a fortune. But, that was probably one of the best classes I ran in. It was competitive, a lot of fun.
This late model sportsman division, one of the most competitive in Atlantic Canada, and one of the most car count wise for all the racetracks that run on a regular basis. The guys in New Brunswick are getting, your 10 to 12 to 14 cars. We're about there, give or take, maybe 1 or 2 when we get going. For those that might not have seen a Scotia Speedworld Sportsman race or haven't checked that out yet on Tim's Corner TV, maybe they're coming to the racetrack this weekend for the triple header. What can they expect?
I think our sportsman division, to be honest, at Scotia is probably the most competitive, to be honest, right through. I mean, you can go from first to last. There's not a big time difference in all the cars. Everybody's getting better every week. As we said there, you said earlier, the 96 finishing 3rd last week. I mean, that's huge for them guys. They've been plugging away for the last few years and finally got it paid off for them.
Now, you said in the post-race interview as well that you were working a little bit with Russie and Devin, and it's kind of full circle with the podium that we had last week, because you had Scott and the Mason Motorsports car behind you. You had Devin in front of you. Yep. How much of a help have they been to try to get you on the right track?
Russie Jr., man, has been huge. To be honest, he probably deserves all the credit for the way the car is running right now. He's really got the car good for me, and, he's not scared to change stuff. He changes stuff probably once a week. We change some things, and it seems every time we go back, we're getting a little quicker, but a lot of it comes down to me too. My confidence was low after the last few years, just not being able to compete, and now it's starting to come back with these good runs.
And looking forward into this season, we have a big race coming up next week, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But looking forward in this season, what are the goals? You've come so close to getting that checkered flag. What do we got to do to get there? How many do you want to rack up? What are the goals going forward here for at least the Scotia Speedworld season?
Well, I'd like to stay in this points hunt. That, I don't like talking about it because I don't want to jinx us or get the stress going on about that. But if we can just keep running consistent and be there with a couple weeks to go, and at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, the car at Scotia to beat is Devin. Devin's the guy to beat, and not that there's not other fast cars. It's just Devin shows week in, week out he's capable of winning races. So
you've been racing at your home track for a few years now, and you've been chasing those championships off and on. What would it mean to get that Sportsman Championship with all the competition that we just mentioned?
Oh, it'd be huge. I mean, there's been a lot of talk around here in the last year about maybe some retirement after next year, and now that I'm kind of running good, it's kind of rejuvenated me to keep going. It was just, the whole team was getting down, to be honest. We're working really hard, and we did get some payoff. We got our feature win. I think it was in 19 or whatever there. But it's just, we want to be able to compete week in, week out.
Retirement,
yep.
If Paul can still hop in a car from time to time, I know it's been a little while. We can't mention retirement with you, right?
Well, like I said, Caden's is running now too, and it's getting hard with two cars. It spreads everybody pretty thin, and I don't get to help him quite as much as I would like. I think he's doing a fantastic job from the races I have got to see this year. But, like as I said, right now I'm kind of rejuvenated. Retirement's not in the question, I don't think, now after we talked about it this spring. And, we'll see where we go after the end of the year.
I want to talk about Cadence a little bit, because I know he's really come into his own as a driver, especially here this year. But getting to do some dirt racing, from the crew chief perspective, outside of the race car, how's he coming along as a driver?
I think he's doing a good job. I've stressed to him, we don't want to be out there wrecking guys or getting into guys. We want to earn the respect, and I think he's doing that. The first 3 weeks he's finished 10th, and I know the car counts are down a little bit this year, but we were very happy with that. And he's learning. He wasn't very mechanically inclined either to start, so he's learning that part of the car too. And I think he's doing a fantastic job. I think if he can get through this year, we're going to build him a new car this winter, and I think we can give him a pretty good piece to go race with next year.
And with half of that crop being rookies as well, how does that? You've been involved in the sport for a while. How cool is it to see that Torsec Lightning division really take off?
It's good. I'm glad we got more kids coming in, because that's what's going to keep racing going when guys like me do retire, or they got places to move up, and guys to move up. As we said before, the Bando class kind of goes to the Legend Pro Stock deal. We don't have a lot of guys come to the Sportsman class. So hopefully with some of these kids coming out of the Lightning class, that's where they're going to go, is to the Sportsman to keep it alive.
I like that idea. We're live and interactive here with Alex Johnson. Drop us a question or a comment. We'll get it on the air. Dylan, I know social starting to creep up a little bit. I see Brent's over there. Who do you got?
Yeah, Brent's always checking in, and always one of our usual guests. And Alex, it's good to chat with you. I've been watching the races, either filming for TCM TV or last weekend I was watching on TCM TV. It just kind of feel good, doesn't it, to have all these consistent podium runs, right?
It really does, actually. I'll be honest. It feels good. Like I said, it wasn't expected. We were hoping with goals of going and running top 5 here the few first races. And, I feel like we're getting closer to Devin and them guys, and just keep digging here and hopefully get a win here in the next few weeks.
We'll go to a few of Brent's questions on Facebook. He wrote, what is your favorite part of racing? Got to be a lot of it. I mean, there's sure a lot of frustration, but ultimately, what's your favorite part of getting behind the wheel?
To be honest, it's it's not even the racing bird, I guess. It's all the people we get to see at the track. You know, you make friends with people that you see at the track every week, and you get excited to see them people, you know, through the summer. You don't get to see them much in the winter. So it's the big social event, more or less. So that's our relaxation on Friday night to get ready for the weekend after a long week of work.
Now let's go to the other side. Brian's also wondering, what is the worst wreck you've been in? Something that's not so fun about racing.
I would say a few years ago, me and Phil Barkos were running up front, and we got together. We had leaders actually spun up off of 2, and we got together pretty good. And I ended up on the top of the backstretch wall and kind of halfway through the back of Phil. So it was a bad wreck, and you know, I don't want to injure anybody or anything like that, but I would say that's the worst.
I can think of one wreck of your son that happened at Valley Raceway. The first time I believe that they were behind the wheel driving Jamie Dillman's car. Can you let our fans know how they went for a little Dukes of Hazzard wild ride at Valley Raceway?
Yeah, we took him down there when he was 14 years old, and actually that's the car he's driving now at Scotia, to be honest.
Really?
Yes, it is. Yeah. We took him down there at 14. Night before we went, actually, we taught him how to drive a standard. Never drove a standard before that, and we took him down there. Anyway, he was doing all right. Lap 1, lap 2, he came into 1, the throttle hung up, and over the berm he went. He had quite a little flight down there.
Yeah, I think it made our flag guys in the corner run faster than Usain Bolt. They got some wicked speed there.
Yeah, we did some running too. All of our hearts dropped that night. We thought he got hurt, but we got to the car, and to be honest, he was grinning ear to ear, and the question was if he could do it again.
What do you think about the dirt racing at Valley Raceway?
Yeah, I like it. I got to actually, Jamie let me drive that car one night in the heat race down there. It's different. It's rough. Other than that, I like it, the fact that you can get a 14-year-old in the car at that time. I mean, some of us, the Bando class is great, but it's expensive, to be honest. It's an expensive class to run, and if you don't have the money, you can get these kids in a 4-cylinder and get them a little seat time so that they can move up through the ranks.
So they announced on Facebook on Monday they're hoping to get running by the end of August. You and the boy going to make a trip down to the valley and get one of the junker cars out or something?
No, we're going to stick with Scotia. I want him on the pavement after that flight down there that his mother put an end to that. We're not going back down
there. Tim, back to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's an easy way to do it. Carson Abe said Alex and Kirk, keep up with the great hard work, and the feature win will come, and we'll echo that. Daniel Adio is also watching. Want to say hey to everybody. Want to say hello to Daniel, big supporter here at Tim's Corner Motorsports as well. I guess we'll elaborate, where Dylan was going with this. And I think I have an idea of where this is going to go. But you mentioned travel. You did Petty Raceway last week with the 5K. You've done some traveling to Riverside and here, there, and everywhere. Is there a track that you want to check off on your bucket list with that sportsman car?
Yeah, there is. Shediac. Shediac's my favorite racetrack. We've had some excellent runs going up there in the last few years. Last year, running in the top 4 in the 100 lapper, and they inverted for the second half of the 100. We actually had the pole, and we blew up a rear end. We've lost motors up there running well. It's a track that just got my number for some reason. We're always good there. Looking forward to going back there this year. We'll probably head there for the Atlantic Championships, and hopefully we can get a good finish out of it.
Now, you've told me before you've got a sponsor in Miramichi, and you got friends in Miramichi. So if there ever was a sportsman race in Miramichi, would you go?
Yeah, actually, one of our crew people, my wife's best friend, Randy, she's from Miramichi. She lives here. She would love for us to have a sportsman race there, and we do. My dad's sister owns a company there. They haven't been on the car in the last couple of years, but you know, we could always reach out and see if we can get something put together.
Barry Richard.
Yeah, well, okay, Denver.
Sponsors is what we need. Sponsors can make anything work. You know, sportsman, pro stock. We'd love to have it all back in Miramichi, but if there's anyone who wants to make it happen and you have a business you want to sponsor it, that's what get in touch with Barry, and we can bring sportsmen back to the North Shore.
I'd absolutely love to see it. Denver, what do you got for Alex?
Well, Alex, I kind of want to ask you a bit first 2019, you talked about the points and stuff, but second in points in 2019 to Devon, and now you're second in points to Devon again. But that 2019 season, what do you remember most from that season?
Probably our feature win, to be honest. It was 9 years coming. It made me second guess a lot of things if I still had it, or if we were that far off, or we should be dropping a division. But we got that feature win. That was huge.
So, kind of looking ahead, or I guess looking back, but 2020, quite a crazy season. At Scotia Speedworld, only about 4 or 5 races actually got run.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the 2020 season? How did that season treat you?
It wasn't bad. Actually, we got a podium the first night, but we were trying a lot of different setup stuff last year, and it didn't work out the best for us. But I was glad the track opened and we got a few in so everybody could get in the seat, because I know we were all itching too. And I kind of like these late starts to the season, to be honest. It gives you a little relaxation times before you get into the thick of things.
So I kind of want to ask, mentioned about Miramichi. Have you ever actually been to Speedway Miramichi before?
Actually, I haven't. My father was up there a couple of weeks ago, and he got in somehow and got us some pictures of the track to look at, because actually we're looking at taking Cadence up there for his first away race. We're hoping to get up there. I think Tim said it was the August 7th race, maybe, up there. Anyway, we're looking at the schedule to try to get him there to turn some laps.
It's definitely a unique track, Tim?
It absolutely is, and especially with the very best fall shootout coming up. October is a great time, and I know week before Shediac is sometimes a little hard on the travel, but absolutely 100%. It's a great place to learn. And Denver, I think you can echo this too. You've got a great mix of drivers and cars, and it doesn't matter if you're driving a Honda or you're driving a Cavalier or a Neon, there'll be somebody there to race with, right?
Absolutely. And it stays clean. The 50 lap race on Saturday, Tim, caution free. Pretty impressive. I think we've only had 2 or 3 cautions in 4 races so far this year. So clean and green, that's what we like. Everyone's there to race and have some fun, but they keep it respectful out there.
Yeah, absolutely they do. It's a great division up there. And by the way, Alex, it's not a double for Sportsman this weekend, but it's a double for Lightning. So how, as a crew chief, do you prepare for 2 races for Cadence this weekend?
We just try to keep him calm and just keep him working at things. We got him 2 new tires this week, so we're hoping that'll help him out a little bit, get him going a little better. We didn't realize he was running until Sunday. He just informed us the other night that it was a 2-week show. So we'll run Friday night, and then I'll enjoy Sunday, because I get to go and actually help him and not have to worry about our car and whatnot. It's a little better, same as the first week. I enjoyed that, being able to go and help him and not have to worry about my stuff as well.
Now, I know he did a lot of iRacing with us over the winter. So have you ever got behind the wheel of one of these virtual race cars to get the itch to go racing in the winter?
Yeah, to be honest, there's some nights there that he works that he's on your deal. I've jumped on there and under his name and turned some laps, but usually I have a bad habit of getting in trouble or getting spun out, so I just usually shut it down.
So if you use his name, there's no way we can tell, right?
No, that's correct.
Now, there's no big sportsman race here, and I know Pete's watching, and we haven't officially let the cat completely out of the bag, but we're going to tease everybody that's watching here tonight. No 100-lap sportsman race this week. It's a 38-lap points race.
Yeah.
But then coming up next Friday night, it's the AJK 50 in memory of Alex, and we're going to run 50 laps.
Yep.
Pete's got a purse together. I did the math of what he sent me. It's over $7,500 in the purse for a 50-lap feature.
Yeah.
$1,000 to win, $250 for halfway. There's a hard charger. We're going to give the tow bonus that we gave to the Nova Scotia cars to come to New Brunswick back in July. We're going to do that for this race for all the New Brunswick cars. If they do want to come down on a Friday night to come play with us, Tim Sconer Motorsports is going to do that. So it's a big show coming up next Friday night at the Speed World. What are your thoughts going into that one? Obviously, Alex meant a lot to everybody in the pit area. So what would it mean to come and win that one next Friday night?
Oh, that'd be great. Pete and them did a heck of a job putting this together. It is some pretty big money for a 50-lap race. I mean, it's not 100 or anything. It's 50 laps. And I'm hoping that we can get all kinds of cars there and make it a good show. I think with that kind of money, I think you may see a couple New Brunswick cars hopefully come down, and hopefully it gets promoted a little bit so that everybody knows about it and we get, full field.
So now, knowing that you might have a couple of extra cars come down from outside that don't race here on a regular basis, is there a target on your back with those 3 second place finishes going into that race?
Nope, not worried about anything, to be honest. We just want to keep plugging away at what we're doing, and if somebody comes that's faster, it is what it is.
Absolutely. So once again, we'll keep you on the loop with that. I think the full information is probably going to come out in the next couple of days leading into the triple header weekend. But if you've got a sportsman car and you are within driving distance, or you can take Friday off and you can come down and join us for the AJK 50 next week, $1,000 to win. And I think Pete said there was $20 a lap to lead. It's over $2,000 if you can sweep all 50 laps.
Yeah, I think I talked to Pete last week. I think he actually said if you lead every lap halfway and win the race, it was $22.50. So that's a pretty big payday for a 50-lap race.
Yeah, that's a pretty big chunk of change for a 50-lap feature. And I think it's $100 to start if we get 20 cars. So
exactly, yeah.
It's a decent payday for a Friday night. So if you don't have it on your schedule right now, if you have a sportsman car, come. If you can be at the racetrack, be sure to get there early. If not, watch it on Tim's Corner TV. Dylan, what do you think of that? I know we kind of discussed this a little bit earlier on in the week, going back and forth. 50 laps next week with some big money on the line.
And it's just huge, and it's great for the sport, and to give those drivers a little incentive to maybe make the haul. Maybe there was a driver who doesn't normally race a Friday night at Scotia. Maybe they're the weekend warrior. Now they'll cut out of work a little early on a Friday afternoon and bring some more competition for Alex. I mean, Alex, do you like more cars on the track? Of course, we want to see more cars, but when you're racing, do you like having more cars on the track, or a few less gives you a bit more room on the track?
No, I like to see full fields. That's what the fans come for, and we want to get as many in there as we can, right? So full fields are the best way to go racing, I think. Yeah, sometimes it causes a little bit more carnage, but you can look at last Friday. I think we had 13 cars last Friday, and I didn't get to see any of it, but from what I hear, it was pretty rough.
I got to watch it on TCM TV. We got some interesting angles. Unfortunately, thousands of dollars I was looking at all smashed up on my phone, but that's the nature of racing. Tim, we might as well just go to some social media questions since I'm on the microphone right now. Fellow racer Austin Hiscock's watching, and he wrote, Alex, if you weren't running a sportsman and you had the choice, unlimited funds to race whatever you want, what would you drive?
To be honest, I wouldn't move to pro stock. I can tell you that. I'd stick with the sportsman car, or, I've always wanted to drive a street stock, to be honest. I've always wanted to get behind the wheel of a street stock, and if we had extra money, that's probably the other toy we'd have in the shop.
Going to another Brent Patterson question. He's wondering, what are your thoughts on Speedway 660? Do you have any racing experience there? Would you think about bringing the sportsman there?
Well, we have discussed actually this year. We have talked a little bit about going for Speed Weekend. Right now, it all kind of just depends where we're at in Scotia and the points. Going last weekend made me pretty nervous going to Petty after being second in the points, worried about getting tore up and that kind of things, right? We're on limited funds. To be honest, we're a small team. We don't run off of big bucks, and, we can't afford those big wrecks. And sometimes when you travel, you just get caught up not knowing the track or not being set up right. But we'll see where we're at. And if the funds come in, maybe we could make an appearance in Speed Weekend.
Jason Pickles is watching. He wrote, Alex has come a long way since we started racing together back in 2004 in the Thunder class. He's still grinding it out in the Thunder class. Any fun memories racing with Jason Pickles?
Well, back in the day when I was racing Jason and them were the guys to beat every week. If you could keep with them, you had a good car. Jason's plugging away good. He's got that newer style Civic working pretty good this year. They're doing a good job.
And we'll go to one more here before we throw it back to the boys here. Let me just see. Maybe I was lying.
Well, Brent's got one about starting your racing career.
Sorry about that. Tim, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, Brent wants to know about how do you get started in racing, and I guess we'll use that. So, Alex, you just had Cadence get started in a Lightning car. So, for those that are out there watching, thinking, "Hey, I want to get into the seat of one of these things," how do you get started in a sport like this?
Oh, you basically just got to build a car or find a good car. I think these days, actually, to be honest, it's cheaper to buy a car than build one. The Lightning class, it's getting a little bit of expensive, but, that's a strong class. I mean, you look at Jamie Dillman, the 145 car, there's Steve Matthews when he's there. I mean, them guys are rock solid with them cars. And, I mean, if you can get in that class and compete, you can drive and your stuff. And, a lot of them guys will help you out. Cadence has got tons of help from Jamie. and all them guys to try to help them get better. And, there's guys every week wanting to help you. So if you get into that division, you can make a pretty good go at it.
And I see Darlene is watching as well. It says awesome job from the Fentonators. There's a guy that we need to get back on the racetrack at some point, and that's Jason Fenton. What do we got to do, Alex, to get Jason Fenton back on the racetrack, do you think?
I'm not sure. I bugged Jason a few times about getting the sportsman car, but Jason said to me before about keeping bodies on them. So it's not like racing the trucks with steel bodies or any of that. You can get pretty expensive in a hurry.
So a sportsman's out, probably a legend car by the sounds of it is out at that point. Maybe a hot rod, maybe a Thunder. Well, he can't technically race in Lightning, so it'd have to be a Thunder car, right?
Yeah. I would say, honestly, now for guys, the Hot Rod Vintage Series is a cool spot to go. I think, yes, there's a few dollars in those vehicles, but they're putting on good shows, and the contact's pretty limited, so you can go home and it doesn't take 60 hours a week to get the car prepared for the next week. So I think it's a pretty cool division, and that'd be cool to see Jason in something like that.
So off of Adam Hiscock's question a little bit earlier, I guess we'll ask you this. If you had a vintage car or at least a chassis roll into the shop, what kind of body do you put on it? What would you build if you had that unlimited budget?
To be honest, we've kind of been talking about it. We got an old 60s Pontiac sitting down at Dad's, and it's a big old car. It's a 60 Pontiac Catalina. I think it would look pretty cool on a Pro Stock chassis.
Well, there you go, Dylan.
Yeah, more the merrier. Come on, bring it on.
Yeah.
We should have our biggest field of cars, by the way, at Scotia Speedworld. For anyone wondering about the Maritime Car Wash Classic with the 2 Pro Stock races, I think we're going to have about 11 or 12 this weekend.
Yeah, that should be a really good show coming up this weekend. It's going to be busy. We're going to talk about the triple in just a few moments' time. I know we have Brandon Campbell on the line. Brandon, do you have anything for Alex Johnson?
Well, I just want to say I really like the look of that car. I saw it in Shediac. I've seen it in Scotia, and it's actually one of my favorite looking cars on track. Why number 14? It is 14, right?
Yes, it is. To be honest, I was always 96. We ran at a West Mason shop, and that was his number. And the year I moved to hobby stock, my dad was still racing hobby stock, so he was racing the 96. And at that time, I think I was 17 years old when I moved to hobby stock. And I needed a number, and at that time my hockey number was 14, so we switched to that and never looked back.
I would have taken the 6 in 96 and flipped it to 99, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Now that we have the B-roll on the screen, I know you used to run a solid black car for a while, and then all of a sudden we went to the white and a little bit of the gold and now the red. So what was the inspiration behind the current paint scheme that you got?
Just a lot of people saying it was dark, hard to see, things like that. And when I painted it white, I really liked it. It looks clean all the time. But there is a lot of talk about going back to black and the baby blue, the same as we did from original for next year, and kind of go back to one of our old paint schemes.
So I guess you can't retire if we're talking about 2022 already, right?
Well, that was supposed to be the last year. That was our talk, was to kind of either go back, sell the gear, or cut back races. So that still could happen. We'll see. That was the deal. We were going back next year as one last year, and we're going to paint it flat black and go back to our old colors, but we'll see what happens.
Now, I know you don't do this alone. There's a huge crew behind you, and as Carson mentioned earlier in the chat, you've got a dedicated crew that puts that race car on the racetrack every week. Who's on the crew that helps you?
My dad, for sure. I mean, we work out of his shop. He puts up with us down there every night. My wife, Lacey, and her friend, Randy, they don't miss anything. People probably kind of smirk sometimes. We got 2 women working on the car every week, but they do everything we need. Craig Doucette, guy stepped up this year to help me out, is huge. My new spotter, Jeremy Hallett, he stepped up. Just all them guys. My Uncle Scott, when he can make it, he comes. There's all kinds of them, and I'm probably forgetting some. Russie Jr., like I say, Russie Jr., I can't thank that guy enough for what he's done for us this year.
So Brianna leaves for a week, and you forget her on the crew list?
Well, see, there you go. I think we're all ready, see? And I'll probably hear about that tonight.
I'm sure you will. You mentioned one thing, though, is the spotter, because we were allowed those now with the radios in 2020. You raced there for so many years with just the race director in your ear. How big of a change has that been in Halifax?
It's huge. As far as I'm concerned, I was one of the guys that fought for it. it saves a lot of gear. Now with these big containment seats and stuff, you don't get as much view as you used to. And Jeremy's really good. Jeremy knows me well. He's a longtime racer at Scotia himself, and he does an awesome job. I mean, he's good. I don't get check mirrors at all. When he tells me I'm clear, I'm clear. So it's a huge help.
We'll do last call on social for Alex. So if you have any more questions, comments, stories you want to throw out there, now is the time to get them. We talked about the crew. I want to ask about the sponsors, because I know you have a bunch of dedicated sponsors that have come on board here the last couple of seasons to make this whole thing work. Who's on this race car?
Dave Horn Automotive and Horns Brothers Towing. He owns both companies. Family member of mine, great guy. He helps me out every year. And without Dave, I can guarantee you we wouldn't be at the racetrack. Pizza Perfect, Michael's Woodworking, Dream Steak Flight. I think that's just about everybody.
So what do we have to kind of mention this off the top of the show, but how hard do you send it into turn 3 and 4 on that final lap if you have an opportunity to win this thing on Friday night? I know you want to get that feature victory. What's it going to take?
I just, we're going to keep plugging away. We're on a little bit of a different setup again this week to try. If I can get close enough, I might have to give Devin a little rub to see if we can get underneath him. But, last week I was hoping we could get him, but Devin's, I would say, is probably one of the best sportsman drivers in the Maritimes, to be honest. He's just smooth. His car's good. He's a heck of a driver.
And to be right up there mentioned with him and those guys is a huge feat in yourself. So pat yourself on the back. Dylan, social, final time, anything else over there? Anything else you want to throw at driver of the 14?
Well, Alex, there's a lot of folks on here just commenting, wishing you the best of luck coming up this Friday, and then the Giant AJK race coming up at Scotia. A lot of fans want to see the old paint skiing come back, so eventually you have to pull the NASCAR thing and do a throwback weekend. What do you say?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Absolutely, Alex. This has been fun. Thanks for joining us here this evening, and we'll catch up on Friday. I'm sure it'll be in victory lane. Hopefully it's one step better than what we've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks for having me, guys.
That's Alex Johnson, driver of the number 14, Dave Horn Automotive, Pizza Perfect, Dream Steak Flight, Horn Towing, number 14 car. But Denver coming up. We've got a triple header weekend on Tim's Corner TV. It begins with the CarStar Weekly Racing Series on Friday night.
It sure does, Tim. It's going to be a great weekend. I was looking forward to maybe making it down to Scotia Speedworld, but that's not in the cards. And for those who didn't get their tickets, because Tim, it's sold out, I believe, on Saturday and Sunday.
There are a few tickets left. There are not many. So
people should get on that for the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour doubleheader weekend. If not, watch live on TCM TV, get all the action. It's going to be exciting. 22 cars on the entry list for the Pro Stock 150 on Saturday and Sunday. That it's a stout field shaping up. There's lots to get excited for.
Yeah, and then coming up on Saturday, it is the Cummins 150 round number 4, the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour Hot Rod Classics, the Maritime Car Wash Classic, and Fleet Break Atlantic Bandoleros. And then on Sunday, it is Nova Truck Center's Make-A-Wish 150. It is a 4 o'clock start on Saturday. It is a 2 o'clock start on a Sunday. You can see it all on timscorner.tv. If you cannot be at the racetrack, be sure to do it. But it's a busy weekend all around. We talked with Alex about the sportsman division and talked to Alex about the whole weekend as a whole. Lightning Cars racing on Sunday as well. It's a whole package at Scotia, but we're not the only ones that are racing. We're going to talk some street stocks in a bit with Caleb Urquhart and the Urquhart Construction 100. But before we get there, let's go to the island and let's talk a little bit of East Coast Mini Stock Tour action with the driver of the number 67. Cody Byrne joins us on the line now. Cody, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
So far, so good. Let's, I guess, start backwards because me and Dylan were at Lake Doucette on the weekend. Same as you. You gave Jesse DeVoe a run for his money at one of the racetracks he seems to be the king at. So I know it's second place isn't what you wanted out of the showdown on the shore, but how was that for you in the 67 team?
It was pretty good. Kind of regretted starting in third gear on that little competition restart or the restart for rocks or whatever it was on the track. It was pretty cool. The caution came out with 18 to go there. So Jesse doesn't think I started in third, but I had the transmission for down there. I might have been able to get out ahead of him for 5 or 6 more laps. I think he had the car to beat, but would have been cool to put on a little show there with 18 to go.
For those that have never been to Lake Doucette, I know we got a little bit of B-roll from previous years, but for those that have never been there, and you were there a couple of years ago for the very first time, what did you think of that racetrack?
It's an experience and a half. I love it. I love going down there. It's always a great weekend. We were me and Brady went down early on Friday, and Steve and Tam let us stay down there at the cottage or the cabin or whatever they call it, and that's something else down there. Steve knows how to put on a good time.
Absolutely. We are live and interactive. Be sure to drop us a question or a comment for Cody Byrne, and we'll get it on the show. Plenty of stuff we can talk about. We're showing some B-roll of the Riverside win for the East Coast Mini Stock Tour a couple of years ago. I guess we'll start there now that it's on the screen. You've won a lot of big races and a lot of big places with this East Coast Mini Stock Tour. How cool was it to win at Riverside?
Riverside was pretty cool. I think that was the only race I actually held off Dave Matthews. I think J.R. Lawson was behind me in that one, Tim Webster. I think that was the only race I really won, and I didn't have luck on my side and was just in the right place at the right time. It's usually how I win. So we're not the fastest, but we're quick.
And then you roll into Petty International Raceway and won a couple of races there in the same season. You guys were on a roll in that year. How cool was it to get all those race wins and in those big races, especially in the month of September, to kind of keep the momentum rolling?
It was good. I mean, it sucks because all of our luck ran out the first of this year. We used it up the end of last year, so we kind of started off hard this year. So no, it was good. It was a good year last year. September was good to us. We had I think 3 or 4 in a row.
And the pandemic obviously didn't help a whole lot of people, but at least we got some racing in, and we got a little bit of laps in back at the racetrack. Let's talk about the big show coming up. Saturday night, Oyster Bed Speedway, the East Coast Mini Stock Tour presented by Passion Flooring and Interiors. First time at Oyster Bed Speedway for the Byrne Plumbing 50 presented by Big J's Carpentry. For you, obviously, this is a big deal because you've been on the tour since day number 1. But rolling into your home racetrack, what are the feelings with that tour?
It's something else. I mean, I'm just hoping for a big turnout. I hope a lot of Island guys will support us and come join us. And I hope a lot of tour guys have their shots and they can make it over. And I mean, it's huge. I think it's going to be like that first Riverside race a few years ago, that inaugural Riverside race. It's just it's pretty big coming to PEI. It's the first time for the tour in 4 years.
Do you feel any pressure being the only full-time Island guy on the series going to your home racetrack?
Yeah, some pressure there. I mean, I'd definitely like to take home the win for sure, but there's some pretty good competition up there. You got Matt Watson and Mitchell Montgomery, Jesse Leclerc, Jesse DeVoe's on the island already. Ryan McKnight's already over here. I mean, there's some good cars coming.
And working the press release today with Drew going over, all the names that are going to be over there. You've got guys like Jesse DeVoe and Dave Matthews. And, those guys that they've got an extensive 4-cylinder resume, but they're still looking for that Oyster Bed win. So if for those that are looking for that win and you trying to defend the home turf and, guys like Matt Watson and Gerald and Mitchell and those guys that you mentioned, how big of a brawl or a battle of the bridge is this really going to be on Saturday?
I can guarantee Dave Matthews is coming prepared. It's one of the tracks he hasn't won at Riverside, I think. So he's definitely going to be determined to win. And I mean, I guarantee the Island guys have already done their homework. They got to switch to 13s. So I mean, there's lots of help out there in the 4-cylinder class. Matt doesn't mind helping, and I don't mind helping guys. Questions are questions. I don't mind answering anything.
And 500 to win too. It's always nice to put a little extra money in the back pocket, right?
Yeah, it's 500 to win. And actually, I got a phone call today from a shop in Summerside. It's gonna be. Me and Drew are still talking about what we're gonna do with it, but they put up some money from the race too on Saturday, so it's kind of a surprise to. Yeah, still to let that out, but it'll be let out Saturday, I'd say.
And it looks like at least 20 cars getting ready to take the green. So if you have a 4-cylinder car and you're looking to go racing, especially in the Honda class, there's no other Honda class that races this weekend besides Halifax on the Friday night. So load up, go over there, get a show in. It's going to be a fun time over at Oyster Bed Speedway. We are live and interactive here this evening. Dylan, you see anything on social? I see there's a couple of folks over there chatting. What do you got for Cody Byrne?
Well, Cody, a lot of your fans are coming out here on social media wishing you good luck at the home track on Saturday night. And how do you go from driving out of Lake Doucette to an Oyster Bed? There's a little bit of banking in both, but I mean, you're not going uphill and downhill at Oyster Bed, right?
No, Oyster Bed's it's a little slower, you could say. Not much, but it's a little slower. People don't think that. The pictures Like when you see Lake Doucette on pictures or video, it looks a little bit more intimidating, bigger than it actually is. But it's definitely a fast track, and you got to be prepared. But coming home, it's not really much changes. A few camber changes and some tow, and it's pretty much it.
Speaking of changes, before we had the showdown on the shore, right before the feature, we had a surprise invert. Your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Mixed feelings. I mean, I was right in the middle, so I didn't really care. But I thought it was cool to put on the show. I mean, it was good for the fans. I think the fans decided to do it, and yeah, I like surprises like that. It keeps everybody interested, right? It keeps people on the edge of their seat.
Wasn't great for Dave.
No, but Dave. I mean, he could have taken the pole challenge too, and he might have been. Anyway,
would have been in the same place. Would have made some money, right?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to his car? Because I was watching a video on the Lake Doucette Facebook page, and it looks like a bunch of smoke came out of the tailpipe before he spun out. Did something blow in the engine before he spun out in turn 1 and 2, Cody?
No, I think him and the 37 got into each other, and I'm not sure. Maybe I think I heard a rotor broke, something like that. It was just unfortunate luck. I don't really know. I think it was just a bad day for Dave.
But it was a good day for you, just one position shy from Jesse. You mentioned about the restart there with about 18 to go. How important was it to have the right gearing and everything, especially coming out of the hill going towards turn 1?
Well, it's hard to get a transmission for down there because no matter what, you got to shift on that backstretch, no matter what you put in your car. And then when you come up the front stretch, you're coming uphill, so you got to have a little shorter gear so you can climb that hill. So I don't know. It's a hard track to kind of comprehend, but it's a fun track. It's I don't know.
That track too, it's got some different sight lines. I mean, we saw JJ McPhee lose their brakes and go head on into the tire barrier. That view going from turn 2 to turn 3, it's almost like a roller coaster. Like the one at Sandspit, the Cyclone, where you go down and you kind of go back up again.
Yeah, 3 and 4 is definitely tight down there. And poor JJ, man, he's got the nerve. Wow. He didn't care. He got into that car. He said, let's do that again.
Before Tim, do you guys something to say about that?
After Victory Lane in the Sportsman cars, Steve finished third, and the first person walking up the hill with me was JJ. And I said, just check out. Are you fine? Are you okay? And he said, yeah, man, I want to get the car back out there and run again. And LJ was behind, and he said the horns were bent down. Like, there's no way that car is going back out on the racetrack. He said, hell, I would have did it again. The car was tore up. The car's going to the junkyard. But I think, Dylan, the biggest thing out of that is that technically wasn't JJ's car. That was Tam's car. So I don't know how he had to explain it to Mom that, hey, I broke your race car. But that's a story for another time, right?
Yeah.
I think
and the whole
was good enough for Tam.
Yeah, I exactly. I mean, the whole family, the whole McPhee clan basically ran to turn 3, which was good to see. From the source and also the Ironman, Drew did break a rotor. So both Drew McEachern, who drove past me in Bridgewater today. I was leaving work and I heard a honk honk and he was waving at me. And Dave is also watching. And I mean, Cody, this group of guys who are consistent on the tour, best of the best in mini stock racing, week in, week out. How fun is it to have guys like Jesse DeVoe and Dave Matthews with you when you go to Petty, when you go to Scotia, when you go to Lake Doucette, and then when you go to Oyster Bed this weekend?
Knowing that them guys are going to be at the track racing, you can comfortably leave by yourself, and it's, you got a family atmosphere down there. It's like brothers. It's just everybody's going to help everybody. You don't have to have a worry in the world. Everybody's going to be on the track. If you break down, everybody helps everybody to get back on. It's a good feeling. It's a good class.
Yeah, I went to Oyster Bed for the first time 2 weeks ago with the Hot Rod Classics, and I love being there. It was really cool to see the Outlaws. And how many of the Outlaw cars do you figure are going to make the step up this weekend?
I'm not sure how many they have in that class for sure, but I'm hoping half will show up. Like some good racers up there, like even Matthew Ford. I'm hoping he'll show up. Colin Bureau, he's got a good car. Like, I hope a lot of guys show up. Shane Bridges, I hope he comes. Like, there's a lot of potential for good guys to come. It's just, I think they're nervous of the tour guys, or what per se guys say, but we're no different than the rest of them. We still follow a rule book. It's pretty well the same. I mean, we're pretty well boycotted on the 88 to 91 right now. Kyle Gammon, 53% left side.
Tim, back to you.
I want to get to some of the other folks that are on social watching, but we just saw the pictures on the B-roll at Jukasa. I want to ask you about that trip because you talked about a 10-hour trip coming from Orwell Cove to Lake Doucette this weekend to race, but you guys left Orwell Cove in 19, went to Jukasa, raced a midweek show, and then drove all the way back overnight to Sydney to race in the opener at Sydney. So A, how crazy was that trip? And B, how cool was it to race Jukasa?
Jukasa was an experience and a half, 5 8-mile track. Wish we would have had a little bit of gearing for there, but we didn't know what we were doing. So next time we go back, if we go back, we know kind of a little more. The trip was crazy. When we left Jukasa on Thursday night, we left right after the race and just drove, I think it was 24 or 25 hours straight to Cape Breton. When we got down there, we had to switch gearing. And we switched transmissions, got in the car, I was getting ready to go to practice, and I put the clutch in, and it went right to the floor, and Chad's like, no, we got to take it back out. We forgot to throw it, Barry. So we switched it twice in about an hour and a half just before practice, and Cape Breton was good enough to let us go out and try practice on our own. And we were pretty bad fast down there that weekend, and had a flat tire, I think, Saturday, and we went out Sunday, and I don't know, I forget where I finished, I think 4th or 5th.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild weekend with all the travel and everything else, and to see you guys thrash to get that thing on the racetrack, it was pretty special. I see Doug Stoddard's watching. I want to say hello to him. Jennifer Drake is watching, cheering you on this weekend. Gail O'Brien obviously was at Lake Doucette on the weekend. Great to see her in the clan down there in Yarmouth.
Yeah, we were making Gail laugh pretty good there. Gail and Doug at Stephen Camps. It was a pretty good time.
We could tell stories, but I think we'll leave it alone. I'm sure Gail would get at us. Colin Brewer says, I think there's 8 island cars. If that's the case, I wonder if Colin's car is a part of that.
Let's hope.
Yeah, he's done a lot of talk. It's just like Ricky Miller does a lot of talk and just, doesn't show up for the racetrack.
Well, between all them guys up there, Ricky should be driving a Honda too Saturday.
Ricky at this point should be driving a Pro Stock, I think, with all the talk that he's been doing, right?
Well, I mean, I haven't talked to Ricky very often lately, but I love seeing him at the track. He's definitely a riot.
Jesse DeVoe was watching from the campground and was going to invite him on the show, but Tim DeVoe told me that he was going on vacation, so really didn't want to disturb the vacation, but glad you're along for the ride with us here this evening. Look, we're kind of bouncing around a little bit here. We're talking about mini stock, but we also have on the graphic that you have a legend car, and you showed up at Petty a couple of weeks ago with that legend car. You kind of dabbled in a legend before, but how fun are those things to get around the racetrack?
That's it's an experience and a half. That's something else. That's a rush. It's a pure rush. It's fun. I haven't decided whether I'm gonna make the full change or not yet. I mean, I was addicted to Honda since Fast and Furious came out, and kind of a bad way to say it, but I mean, I collected them since I was 16. It's all I've driven. It's all I know how to drive for field cars and mini stocks, and just growing up enduro races. The Legend, I don't know. It's just something new, just something a little bit more faster, just something to get a little different experience, rear-wheel drive, just new group of guys. It's just, I really don't know what my plan is with it. Just run it for a little bit, I think.
Because you dabbled with a late model for a little bit too, didn't you?
Yeah, that's never again. Nope. You need a crew for that and some big money, and no, it's just too much. Too much.
I guess that was going to be my next question about what was the ups and downs about that deal, but I guess you just answered it there for me.
Well, that too, and I think I bought it at the wrong time. I wanted to run the late model class in Oyster Bed, and then that was the year they switched over to Pro Stock, so it was just too much money, and I didn't know enough experience to switch over, enough about rear-wheel drive, so I just said the hell with it.
So looking forward to this season, obviously with the East Coast Mini Stock Tour schedule, we kind of know where we're going. We're going to Speed Weekend next after we get done with Oyster Bed. There's a race on IWK 250 weekend. There was supposed to be a road course race in there. Haven't really talked to Drew about it, if it's going to land or not, but let's say it does, and we race Atlantic Motorsports Park this year. Are you excited to get on the road course?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be, yeah. Yeah, it's a new experience for everybody, so it's going to be a game changer. It's anybody's race, really. I mean, the guys from Shuvenacadie, like Dave, I think it's Dave's backyard. I mean, he knows how to drive anything. He could probably push a wheelbarrow around there and win, so. But, yeah, no, road race is going to be fun.
What are you most looking forward to on that weekend?
I don't know. Just honestly, the most forward I look to every weekend is the family atmosphere. Just seeing all the guys and just that that experience of racing. It's a good time, and the road race is just going to be a little different because there's no points in the line. There was not going to be edgy, and it's just a end of the year kind of finale thing.
I see Ricky Miller is still watching, and he says, I enjoy being the drunk pit crew. I'm surprised they even let him out from up west. Like I don't understand why they do that. Denver, what do you got for Cody Byrne?
Cody, I kind of want to ask you a bit about the 2020 season. You had some big wins throughout the season. One of them being Speed Weekend at Speedway 660 on Saturday night. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your win at Speedway 660?
I don't really. Yeah, it was a win. I definitely got carried the checkered flag, but I mean, it was Dave Matthews' race. He led, I think, what was it, 45 laps, and then there's some controversy on cautions and stuff, and he got the unfortunate stick there and got sent off or whatever. And I was on the inside, Jesse's on the outside. I think if roles reversed, if Jesse would have started on the inside, it would have been his race. It was just luck again. I was just right spot, right time.
Well, flash forward a few weeks after that, you picked up another win at the Mike Stevens Memorial, and interesting circumstances there as well.
Yeah, followed JR for 49 laps. I think I started on the pole, and he's passed me like one or two into it, and followed him for the rest of the race. And then at the end of it, the last lap, last corner, there was a car spun out, and JR hit the car, and I went underneath him, and everything happened so fast, I had to ask Craig at the flag stand. I said, "This is my win or not?" And he said, "Well, if you don't want it, I can take it from you." So anyway, I carried the checker flag around. We went to Tech, and we passed, and that was that. I think it was my third or fourth Mike Stevens in a row or something.
And then you go to Miramichi in October for a 50-lap race and notch another victory where maybe didn't have the best car.
No, see, in the right place, right time again. And poor Dave blew up down Miramichi, and I was just right behind him, so no other place to go but first. And I think I had the car other than Dave to be down there, so I got the checker flag that weekend too.
I think you would lap the field.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
What is it? Better to be lucky than good, eh, Tim?
That was kind of humble. Yeah, we kind of lapped the field.
Well, we did. We had fast cars. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And looking forward, obviously, when the tour does end, there are some big races. What do you have on your radar? Do you have any of those big mini stock races in your crosshairs?
I'd really like to get Riverside again this year on September 10th. I'm trying to figure out some new gearings in there. I think the last time we were all down there, we were all running the same gearing, and it was just not what anybody's running now. Everybody's kind of got a new gear set for there. A couple guys have a little better one than another, and that's the one I'm after right now. So.
And it would be IWK 250 weekend as long as provincial guidelines and restrictions allow us to do a little more partying. So what would it mean to get a win? Obviously, you have a win at Riverside, but it wasn't the IWK 250 weekend. What would it mean to win on that weekend?
That'd be something else. It's a pretty big weekend. It'd be like 660 or Mike Stevens weekend. It'd be good to have in the resume.
We do have a special guest kicking around here somewhere in the back. I don't know why we allowed him on the call tonight, but Brandon Campbell, what do you got for Cody?
I got a few things. The first one is, thank God you got Facebook so I can get a hold of you if I need you.
Yeah, you're the worst thing about getting Facebook, kid.
I see Cody in October, and he goes, "Yeah, man, we'll talk over the winter." And I'm like, well, how am I going to talk to this guy? The next thing, what are you bringing to Speed Weekend this year? The Legend, the Mini Stock? Both?
Probably just the Mini Stock. The trailer's not big enough to haul two of them, so.
Well, you may as well bring the Legend then.
Well, no, I can't. See, I can't haul them, both of them. That's how we get to travel. Is we got that camper in the front of our trailer. It's like a little toy hauler. I made it there a couple years ago to go to Yarmouth, and it paid for itself first couple weekends.
He's got to run for points in the mini stock.
Yeah. Second part of this question, when are we having that Rattler that we talked about for a year now?
Well, I don't know. You never come around after the race. You just disappear. It's the same as help me fix my car. I text you Saturday morning. Where are you? You home? He said, no, I'm busy. I can't. I don't have time.
We'll keep this low key, but we'll have something in Gary. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we'll have something.
Yeah, well, I got something for Saturday too if you're around.
No, I won't be there.
Okay. Liquid apple pie.
Oh, I'll be there.
I think that's the Big Island thing, isn't it? Because I think the Vincent's got me tied up into that in the banquet a couple of years ago.
Oh, it's pretty dangerous stuff, Tim. Pretty dangerous.
Now, to Brandon Campbell's question, you do have Snapchat now, right? Because I think me and Sam Jardine tried to teach you how to do Snapchat in Miramichi last year. So you got that all handled, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I still don't use, I'm still getting onto the social media thing where Facebook's the easiest I've found so far, but
I wouldn't say we have Snap figured out.
I'm glad you're able to at least figure out the Zoom thing for tonight, though.
Well, no, I'm at Chad's right now. He's right behind me. I don't know how to do Zoom at all. I don't even have internet at home, so I had to come up here, and Chad and his wife set me up with that.
Well, there you go. And we'll give Chad a little bit of credit because I know he does a lot of work on these race cars. How important is it to have Chad come up and down the road?
Well, it's pretty good. I think Chad's regretting not getting a shot this year after that trip to Yarmouth there last weekend. But no, he's good help. He's always around every evening or whenever I call him, he's there. So, and then the same as Brady Burt, he comes off island with me all the time. And no, the real good help. If I didn't have them boys, I wouldn't be racing. So I got a lot of help too. From a fellow in Miss Gush this year. He finally taught me how to set up a car and maybe teach me how to drive a little bit, not be so aggressive. And you guys all know who it is. Matt Watson's good stuff. So.
Absolutely. So Matt's been the guy to beat over there the last couple of years, won that championship and won a couple of races earlier this year. So what do you got to do to beat him on Saturday? He's coming in on your turf with the East Coast Mini Stock Tour. What do you got to do to make sure he stays behind you?
Tell Drew to not to chip in that bag so I can pull number one and start my heat race out front of everybody. It's going to be pure luck in Oyster Bed. The lane to pass in Oyster Bed is the middle, so everybody's used to passing on the low side in the tour, and it's so tight in the bottom of Oyster Bed, you scrub a lot of speed, so it's the middle lane to pass. So if you can get in the middle, you're guaranteed to win.
So for those that have never been to Oyster Bed and never raced over there, I know Jesse and Dave and a few others were watching, but besides that, is there any other pointers to getting around that place and what you have to do to try to get to victory lane?
Make sure your car's loose. Make sure you got low cross. Jesse DeVoe, I think, was blowing away there last night. He said it was a lot more banked than he had imagined. Like when he's seen it in person, we took him to practice last night with us. Just be mindful. There's going to be a lot of cars. You're always going to have to look ahead of you and behind you in that race. So it's going to be a busy time.
It's going to be a fun night at the racetrack. If you haven't made plans for Saturday night and you're on the island, be sure to head to the Passion Flooring and Interiors East Coast Mini Stock Tour. Burn Plumbing 50 presented by Big J's Carpentry. Gonna have some more information on the deal. And for those island cars, there are a couple of Canna Connect and Joe's Racing Products Hometown Hero bonuses, and Big J's Carpentry has stepped up as well for second and third of the top island cars to give a little bit of cash their way too. So that's going to be good. We're going to do last call on social media right now. So Dylan, what do you got over there? Do you got anything else for Cody Byrne?
Yeah, Austin Hiscock's still here from The Rock, and he mentioned, how they have a competitive field of Cobalts, and he'd like to see Hondas over there eventually. Cody, would you make the haul on the ferry to go to Eastbound Park if they invited Hondas over? And money was not an issue?
It's pretty funny you mentioned that because when we were driving down the Yarmouth, me and Brady on that long trip, I said, where are we going to go? I said, we went to Jacoska. I said, we're on the way to Yarmouth. I said, where's the big trip going to be this year or next year? And he said, well, let's go Newfoundland. So I was like, yeah. And then I think Brady actually messaged. We got a rule book sent to us, and we're kind of going over right now and planning a trip to Newfoundland, to be honest.
So would that be the mini stock or the Legend?
No, I'd want to take the mini stock. I don't know the Legend enough to make adjustments at the track or gearing or any of that stuff. So I just take the Honda and a couple transmissions and see what we can do.
Are there any other tracks that you want to check off? I mean, not many mini stock drivers in Atlantic Canada can say I went to Jukasa and potentially eastbound. Is there anywhere else, maybe in the States, whenever the borders open up?
I mean, I'd like to try that Vors Compact Series at Bristol someday. That'd be something else, but that's a big, big dream. I definitely want to go back to Ontario and try like Sunset and Flamborough, go up for 2 weeks and do a Saturday and then the following Saturday each track.
Tim, I would love to see Cody have a conversation with someone in Tennessee to pit the Islander accent on the Tennessee accent.
It's be some twang going there, wouldn't it?
Well, Brandon, can we get Ryan Matthews on here?
We could probably get him on right now if you invited him. We could have Virginia, Newfoundland. He'd take his boat or build a bridge, whatever he's got to do to get to Newfoundland.
Jesse DeVoe, by the way, says he would go to Newfoundland too. Steve Austin is
Tell Jesse I'm not going to Newfoundland if he goes.
Nope. I have to tell Bob or somebody over there, Lisa or somebody, to give him a black flag, right?
Oh yeah, something. He's too fast.
Yeah, I think that would be a trip. We might have to talk with Mike and Patty and Bob and the boys, and if not an East Coast Mini Stock Tour race, maybe something we can do to get over there. Because I know Adam and Austin can correct me. I think Stephen Guest, Lane might have been the last one to go over there and do well with a Honda. I know there's been a Honda that's won a couple of times over there, and I could be wrong, but I think it was one of Cody Quinn's old cars that ended up winning over there a couple of times too. So the Cobalt seemed to be the fast car over there, but there are a couple of Hondas that are decent. So interested to see how that all plays out this year. Obviously, they've been hit hard with the pandemic too, and I'm hoping to get over there at some point this year. We're still in the planning stages of trying to get over there, but with our schedule over here, it's kind of difficult to miss a race over here and get over there at the same time. But Denver, do you have anything else for Cody?
Yes, I do actually, Tim. And we kind of talked about this little story with Dave Matthews when he was on. We mentioned that trip to Miramichi last October that you actually won. But Friday night, what happened with you and Dave that resulted in some blue lights flashing behind you in the rearview mirror?
Man, that was something else. That was lifetime memories. We showed up Friday night, and correct me if I'm wrong, the old track owner's name is Barry?
Yes.
Yeah, so Barry he let us go on the track there, and we practiced under the lights for a little bit. It was just me and Dave running around having some fun, and then we came in, everything was kind of quieting down. There's a bonfire going, so we walked over, and Dave was just asking questions about the Mustang, and Dave's right into Fords, and Barry come back and threw Dave the keys, and away we went, and brand new Mustang, turned traction control off. I mean, Dave drove the guts out of that thing. He drove the guts out of it. Yeah, it scared the shit right out of me. Yeah, ask him. I had to sit in when I got out. I thought we were going to wreck that brand new Mustang.
I was going to say, you had a look on your face and you climbed out.
Oh, yeah. And then when we climbed out, Barry's like, no, get back in. We're going to get some pictures of the cop car. Go back. So Dave's just ear to ear smiling. You can't tell Dave stopped driving, so.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun weekend for sure, and a lot of great memories. Besides the fact that Dave blew the motor, but I mean, somebody had to take the win, right?
Well, and it's just kind of a shitty weekend for Dave to blow up. I think that was the weekend he lost his mom there, so it was kind of unfortunate for him to blow up. I was kind of hoping he'd win that race for his mom.
So for those that are looking for a race this weekend, why should they head to Oyster Bed Speedway to watch you guys run?
Because we're the fastest mini stock drivers in the Maritimes. We're bad fast.
And definitely put on a show last week. Jeff Richard said good luck this weekend as well. Drew McEachran's on board for Newfoundland, so we'll have to have a conversation. I got to call Mr. James at some point here in the next couple of days, so maybe I'll plant the seed a little bit into Mike James's head. Dylan, it is bald, so we might have to plant some sort of seed up there, but that's
if you plant any seeds and get in and grow, you send us some dates, and we'll try and make it work for this year.
Yeah, Tim, I'll drive a junker car. I'll join. I'll be a back marker. We can go to Newfoundland.
You couldn't drive a minivan in Miramichi. What are you talking about?
Give me a Honda or a Cobalt that has a decent serpentine belt.
You look good on the tow truck, though.
Yeah.
Damn
So did you. Don't have any room to talk. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the only racing ever ran isn't Brandon on a tow truck?
No, I got pushed by the cop car in Petty. I didn't even get to the tow truck. I wasn't worth it.
So you felt half the speed Honda can do so far.
Yeah, that was probably enough for him too.
Yeah, I'm scared I won't go back.
Can we shove you in a bandolero maybe or something? You're a little tall, but can we shove you in a bandolero that might be more your speed?
Do they turn on?
Yeah, they do.
And get me in it.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Jordan Mombercat wants to know where the race is this weekend. Well, there's plenty of racing around. We're talking about the Oyster Bed one right now. We got Scotia Speedworld. We got Speedway 660 on Saturday. We got some big shows coming up here this weekend. So plenty of opportunities to get to a racetrack and see some racing. Cody, you don't do this alone. I know you mentioned some of the crew, but who else is on the crew and who is on this race car that helps you get to the racetrack every week?
A big sponsor is my father, and I guess I started helping him too this year, is Byrne Plumbing, and Jason Rector, Big J's Carpentry, Faya and Claus DeBoer at Graphics Garage, and then Nathan Veld at Cement Head Art Sands Concrete, and then we got a new sponsor coming on this weekend. His name is Jesse Way, and he owns Dust to Shine, and it's a detailing company.
The DeBoers. We need to get the DeBoers back at the racetrack.
Yeah, we're gonna get them back in Volkswagen on the tour. I think they dominate.
Absolutely. I think they need to be in something on a racetrack. Any final thoughts before we close this thing off and we send you off? We gonna put that thing in victory lane this weekend?
We're hoping. Luck's usually on our side, and I mean, I think luck's been turning for us the last couple weekends. So let's hope we have a horseshoe in our pocket this week and get that chip out of Drew's bag there.
Oh, there you go. We wish you all the best, Cody. Go get him this weekend and have some fun with the tour.
All right, thanks, Tim.
That's Cody Byrne, driver of the number 67 Byrne Plumbing, Big J's Carpentry, Honda Civic. You'll see him this weekend at Oyster Bed Speedway for the Byrne Plumbing 50 presented by Big J's Carpentry. Let's talk fantasy points. And before we do, boys, we're showing last week's picks because if you look at the screen, nobody's pick finished better than 9th. And it was me. So I got some points in you boys.
I guess it was.
Yeah, whatever.
Race.
Yeah, whatever he says. So that now let's look at the points because we'll, getting rid of this last week thing. Forget about that. I'm still ahead. Brittany's 14 points back. You've got 10 points back to Denver. Meredith, Dylan, and the fans have some work to do. Yeah, Dylan, you got to pull your socks up, bud. You're almost 100 points behind.
I know. Well, I saw that Kenny Jr. got a little tangly there, and big field of cars at Petty, and I'm hoping that my pick will come in on top this weekend, and we're going to get into that in just a moment.
For the record, those bottom picks right there, the fans had Chris Reed. We didn't put the list up on the fantasy page, but there was a couple of people that did the write-in deal. They had Chris Reed. You had Kenny Jr. Meredith had Jordan Vino, who I think finished dead last. By the way, Brittany, when she swapped her pick at one point, had Alex Oblinas and decided to go away from that. Again, first pick was going to win the race, went away from it. And then me and Denver had solid top 10 efforts at best. So let's roll this week. Our race of the week is the Cummins 150 for the ECI Pro Stock Tour. It's round number 4. Meredith's pick's not there because it was a little bit late and I didn't get it on the graphic. Her pick is Ashton Tucker. I'm going with Greg Proud. Solid pick, big black Dodge. If it's not going to victory lane, it's getting a good finish. Speaking of drivers who know their way around, Dylan, who do you have?
I'm going with a fellow Dylan, Black Betty, Dylan Blankhorn. When he was at the River Glade race, his first Pro Stock race in over a year and a half, he was pretty solid, running consistently in the top 5. Got a little tangly with Corey Hall and Nick Noggle. He's very good at Scotia Speedworld, and his return to Scotia Speedworld, I think he's going to victory lane at least once this weekend, and it's going to be happening Saturday for sure.
Denver consistent pick hasn't finished off the podium this year.
Absolutely, Tim. And I almost went with Cole Butcher again. Obviously, Cole's got 2 wins so far in the Pro Stock Tour on the podium every race. But, I think Cole's probably the obvious pick. And Craig Slonwhite's having a hell of a season. And, if Cole's got his 2 wins, Craig has yet to win. If you finish on the podium every single week, eventually it's going to turn into a win. And if not, it should get some damn good points when he parks it on the podium again. So Craig Slonwhite is having a great season, and he's going to keep it up on Saturday. And we're only counting Saturday, but into Sunday too.
And we haven't spoken to Brittany. I know she's been busy. By the way, Brittany, happy birthday. So we'll see if we can't get a pick out of her before we go racing on Saturday. But if we don't, Brandon, who do you got?
You guys made this way too easy. It's got to be Cole Butcher. Especially in Halifax, it's got to be Cole Butcher.
Did some damage on that first race and picked up the victory and continued to roll on and won the Irving 150 a couple of weeks ago. So pretty solid pick. But then you look at guys like Nicholas Noggle, you got Jared Butcher. You look down the list of drivers that are coming to this thing. It's going to be a fun race on Saturday. 22 cars pre-entered. Marty Prevost is there. List goes on and on. Going to be a great show. You can watch it on Tim's Corner TV if you can't make it to the racetrack. If you can, there are a few tickets still left. There aren't many. Head to timscorner.ca/fantasy picks. We'll have the full list up for you coming up sometime tomorrow afternoon. And then you can make your picks for yourself and see if we can get some points for the fans coming up. If not, we'll just go with Brandon's pick, I guess, for them. So we'll roll with that. Coming up next on the show, speaking of racing this weekend, driver of the number 11 in the street stock division at Speedway 660, second in points, looking for that first win. And if it comes this weekend, it's going to come in a big show. Caleb Urquhart joins us on the line. Caleb, how are you doing tonight, bud?
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so far so good. Let's chat this weekend. Big race for you. You come in on a wave of momentum, second place finishes. What are we going to do to win this thing this weekend?
I don't know. It's a long race. I guess just don't get tangled up in a mess too early and hang out at the back. Try to just hang around and be there at the end. That'll be key. There's a lot of good cars coming.
And you talk about that big race mentality. Obviously, the Ricky Bobby, you had, I think, half the side tore off that race car last year and was still flying through the field. So the last big major race that we had at 660, at least extended distance, not counting a 50 lap or what have you, was the Ricky Bobby race. So what can you take from that thing last September and kind of learn and roll into Saturday?
I'd never raced 100 laps. My longest race to date before that was 75. So that was double. So I didn't know what to expect, but it was very long. It was very hot. I drink a lot of water and try to stay cool, but I don't know. Last year, I mean, the same mentality, just try to keep a clean car. I just got a little tangled up, something that, I don't know, it just happened. Like, it wasn't anything that anyone did wrong. It was just a racing deal. And that can happen no matter where you are in the field. That could happen to the leaders, or if you're hanging out at the back and you're in last, it could happen to you there. So it's just a crapshoot, honestly. Just try to be careful.
We are live and interactive here this evening with Caleb Urquhart. Be sure to drop us a question or a comment. We'll get it on the show here this evening. Now, this season has gone really well for you. Had some issues on race number 1 back in May, but it seems like once the temperatures kind of warmed up, you warmed up as well. Second place in the point standings. Got a nice ring to it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. No, this is the highest up we've been. I know it's been kind of a weird year and a few DQs or DNFs, but we'll take it however we can get it. Staying clean and doing the best we can, having a great time.
Now, there's not a whole lot of points racing left in this season, but obviously this weekend coming is a show points race, the Maritime Street Stock Series in town. But how do you try to get by Riley Goodwin and win that big trophy?
We've definitely got our work cut out for us. We've been only having 10 or 12 cars, and I'm 7 points out of first, and we have one race left. So 1 points race left anyway, other than show points. So got to beat him by 4 cars, and it doesn't get any easier when he's up front winning races. It's hard to beat a guy that's winning.
So now, looking at the rest of the schedule, you mentioned the 1 point race coming up, and I believe correct me if I'm wrong, it's next week, right?
After the 100, it's next race after 100. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got that. You got Speed Weekend coming up. You got the Ricky Bobby race. So those big races, how do you prepare for a Ricky Bobby? And I spoke with Randy McCoy actually yesterday about that race. They are preparing for that Ricky Bobby 150 like no other. But how do you prepare for a race like that, knowing that there's also a championship to win? And then you got a big one this weekend with the Urquhart Construction 100. Talk about the remaining schedule.
Yeah, we change. We go over the car every week, but there's some things that we have to change every couple weeks. Like, we'll obviously change the oil, ball joints, check those, all the kind of wear parts. But we'll definitely be changing everything before the 150. Just where it's quick math, which I'm not great at. It's almost five times the distance of a regular week for us. So it's definitely a lot of laps. So you got to make sure the car is up to snuff, and then myself too, I guess. Drink lots of water, stay cool. You'll need new tires. If you're not running new tires, they'll be pretty worn out by the end of it, I guess. But that kind of thing. I mean, it's another week. It's just a little longer.
We're showing highlights from week number 1 in the Riverview Ford Lincoln season opener. You battling with Michael Cormier and Riley Goodwin. You just got started in street stock racing back a couple of years ago, moving up from that 4-cylinder rank, and now you're battling with guys that have been here for a little while and that have won races and won championships previous to that. How neat is it to be running up there with the limited experience you have compared to those other guys that have won those races and those big shows?
It's unreal. I forget who I was talking to. I think it was James last couple weeks ago at the racetrack, and we were just talking about how I went to my first race as a fan like 4 years ago, and that was the first time I'd ever been to the track, other than a long time ago before I even remember. Dad used to race long before me. He raced for a while, but he quit when I came along, so I don't have any memories of that. So just 4 years ago, going to my first race, and it was me and a friend and Dad, and I told Dad I wanted to get into a 4-cylinder car, and we had one. I think the week after. Dad loved racing, and I think he was just waiting for me to kind of want to get into it because he was ready to go as soon as I was, it seemed like. And raced that for a year, and it was a lot of fun, but just felt like there was more we could do, more out there for us. So bought a good car from Kevin McEntee and Petty, and it's a good car, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun and battling with some talent.
Now I want to ask about your father because he raced before, got into the sharpshooter the year that Weagle won the gunslinger, I think it was, and finished on the podium. He's still got it in him. So has there been any talk about him getting back in a race car at some point?
I don't know. I kind of toyed around with the idea of him running a race this year just because I've never watched him from the stands. I watched him once. I was trying to chase him in the Gunslinger 50, and that didn't work out for me, but I've never gotten to watch him from the stands. So we kind of toyed around with the idea of him racing, but he tested the car a couple weeks ago. Just he wanted to get a feel for it and just try it. We were out testing, and he wanted to get back in the street stock, and I was telling him, I said, there's more in it than what you're driving. He said, yeah, I was just out there making laps. He said, I don't have the drive to go as fast as I used to, and I don't know. I'd love to see him get in the car. I just don't know. I don't know if it'll happen. So he likes doing the pit stop.
Now, before we go to Dylan and to social, you mentioned the Maritime Street Stock Series being in town with this Urquhart Construction 100. So did a little look at the entry list. The entry list and that information should be on the website at speedway660.com, probably sometime tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. But Jim Tingley, Brad McLean, Martin Landry, you've got the guys that are there every week or those part-time guys like Michael Cormier. You've got the Riley Goodwins, yourself, Tristan Harris, the guys that when we go to Speedway 660 are going to be at the front of the field. So I guess kind of give us a little summary on the competition. What are you expecting Saturday night with those guys coming into town?
You never know what to expect. Anyone can pull something out and go to the front, and you just have to prepare the best you can and do what you can and just show up with a fast car and just do what you can to worry about yourself. Like Brent Roy said, the goal is always to win, and the points are going to do what they're going to do. So you got to just do what you can to get to the front, but there's a pile of fast cars coming from what I've heard so far. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. A top 5 would be awesome for us, I think. Obviously try to shoot for a win or maybe more, but sometimes you gotta be realistic with the guys coming and just the experience level. Like, this is only my second year in the car. So, and last year we only ran 6 races?
So wait a minute. Did I hear you're taking advice from Brent Roy?
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I was going with that. But speaking of Brent Roy, I hear that he may be watching us tonight. Mr. Langell, what do you have on social?
Yeah, the man himself is in the room. He's asking Brandon a question first.
Well, actually, no. This is going to Mr. Urquhart. This is one of Brandon's favorite questions.
Okay, when's the next super late model at Five Flags?
I've heard that so many times, whether it was from Owen Mahar, Brent Roy, Brandon Campbell. I think even Andrew Rogers.
Yeah, I was going to say Andrew Rogers is probably on that list too.
Actually, iRacing repaved the track because you were on it so much and you kind of wore it down a little bit. iRacing actually repaved the place.
Because of me or Brent?
Well, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Well, who has the better finish, you or Brent?
Brent.
Okay. Well, we'll have to put like 50 pounds on his car then. He's into doing that road racing thing on iRacing now. Have you done any of that?
I tried it once. It did not go well.
I'm surprised though. Brent Roy is here tonight watching us and not doing the Mount Washington hill climb that iRacing just put out. For those that don't know, they just put out Mount Washington today. So you can climb the mountain. I saw some Twitch streams earlier today. I was watching Landon Huffman do that on the Super, but yeah. So how much iRacing have you been doing in the off season, Caleb?
In the off season, I was on it 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm not getting any better, but I'm having a great time. But in the summer, I probably haven't touched it in a month or a month and a half. I just so busy. Every time I tell myself I'm going to get down there and do it, I lose some motivation by the time I get to the top of the stairs. So just I don't know. I don't really have the time for it, but it's fun. I love it. No, I'm not very good at it.
Well, all you have to do is follow Brandon Campbell around the racetrack, right? At least that car starts.
I hear he's a professional setup shop driver now.
Yeah.
And he's a mini stock driver.
Oh, that's stretching it a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you want to give Tyler a plug while we're here?
Oh yeah. So all you iRacing folks, Elite Performance Industries. We
Can't
got
even
some.
Say it right.
It's okay.
Try again.
Elite.
Try again.
ElitePerformanceIndustries.com. We got some Pit Lizard shirts going out there. I'm pretty sure Tim has 1, 2, maybe 10. He has a couple.
I am not going to lie. I have one on the way.
I know. I have 2 on the way.
What do you need 2 for?
1 for each day at the track. Speed Weekend's what, 3 days? I need at least 2.
Okay. Yeah,
that's good, man.
Yeah. What happened to your Tim's Corner shirt we gave you?
That's in the closet.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for my sweater, Tim.
Actually, there might be some in the tower at 660. I think I left some up there. I don't know if they ever got to you or not, but they might still be up there somewhere unless somebody took them.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'll go see.
You have to go take a look up there because I know I left some up there. I don't know if there was any left at the time, but
they're gone now. They're a hot commodity.
I'm sure they are. And there's not many by the way, we're out of large t-shirts. I apologize to Jeff Doherty because I know he went to the office 2 weeks ago and looked for large t-shirts. I got to check and see if we have any in Truro. I got to make sure Craig Rogers and his manly figure are taken care of first. But we should have a restock at some point as well. So a big thanks to LJ Designs and those guys in Rock Hill. I know Lee was racing for the Summer Shootout Championship last night at Charlotte. So congratulations to him on his Summer Shootout season. But Denver will let you loose with Caleb. What do you got?
Well, Caleb, first of all, good luck Saturday night. Does it add any pressure, it being the race that your father's company is sponsoring?
It'd be nice to get some of his money. I mean, for sure, I'd love to get some of it so we can put it back into the car. I mean, obviously I won't see very much of it. We'll just go put it back in the car and try to make it faster, of course. But no, I don't think so. I don't even know if many people there know my last name anyway, but we're going to go try to win it no matter what race it is.
So I want to talk a bit about the street stock first. You have one of the nicest, brightest, and flashiest looking cars on the track. It's a beautiful looking car. Where did the motivation and thought come for that paint scheme?
That's a 2015 Paul Minard Martinsville paint scheme with our sponsors on it, but it's pretty identical. The paint dripping and everything like his look.
So how did were you a big Paul Minard fan or just like the look of the car?
Not at all. It looked awesome though, and we already had the yellow from last year. Just wanted to change it up a little bit, try to change it a little detail every year. And we had the yellow in the pit box. It was already wrapped yellow and some other things. So it made sense to keep that. But now just looking for something different. We were just planning ideas. We probably went through 15 or 20 different ideas. And I wanted to go white and purple and orange. But I was... no one said they would work on the car anymore if we wrapped it like Denny Hamlin. So, there's no Paul Minard fans in this house. So,
yeah, that's right. I forgot that you're a real big Joey Logano fan.
Oh yeah, huge.
And too bad,
that's Michael Cormier. He came over for the Phoenix race last year, and he was cheering. Him and Dad were cheering for anyone but Hamlin, but he's a Logano fan.
And I think not to get both you and Tim going, I think between Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin, they have a grand total of 0 wins in 2021. But we'll get back to questions about you. I want to talk about the transition between the sharpshooter and the street stock, and especially you make this transition in the middle of COVID. You have a great car, but transitioning from the sharpshooters into the street stock, what was it like for you?
It was crazy. I had no idea what to expect, but it definitely wasn't what I expected, if that makes any sense. It was a huge difference. The completely different cars. Like, for example, we ran somewhat decent last year, and then I went to race the Gunslinger 50 in a 4-cylinder again, just a hot seat deal. It wasn't mine, but it was the first time I was in. And I mean, we were 5th in points in the 4-cylinder and ran fairly well, but I was like the slowest all day. It's like I forgot how to drive it, kind of thing. Ended up with a decent finish, but they're just so different. It's insane, but it's fun to learn, fun to try new things and get your feet wet and different stuff. So I love it.
When you see drivers like, a Luke McLaughlin, a Justin Cole that started in those sharpshooter ranks and worked their way up into the street stocks and found success, and now you're racing alongside them, and then also veterans like, a Rick Cashel. What's it like racing against these guys that kind of followed through the same footpath that you're taking moving up through the ranks, and then some of the crafty veterans that are out there?
It's really cool. Like it's fun. It's fun. Like I know Michael Cormier is not per se a veteran, but he's been in it for a while and he's quick. And like a couple weeks ago, we were racing alongside him, and he was in first and I was in second. And I think it was Justin Cole in third, Sean Heisel in fourth. We kept having a few cautions. I think it was 4 or 5. So to keep restarting on the outside of Michael and try to hang on the outside of there, trying to stay ahead of Justin and Sean, they're always fast. Like, and then you don't really realize it in the moment because you're so focused on what you're doing. But when you go back and watch it, and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool mixing it up with the fast guys, right? So it's awesome. It's really cool.
Before I throw it back over to Tim, and we know this day is coming, but when the day comes, you score that first feature victory. How are you going to celebrate? I'm sure there's going to be a big party somewhere.
There's going to be a party somewhere, and you'll likely be there. You hang around 660 Fairmount. If Tim's there, he's invited. But anyone's invited. It's going to be awesome. I'm waiting for it. We're doing what we can. We will finish third and then second. So first is somewhere along the line. We're hoping. I mean, not to. I obviously can't guarantee anything, but we're all hoping. We're all doing what we can, hoping it's going to come eventually. That'd mean a lot for us.
And I guarantee it'd be one of those nights that I don't think we're going to see the we're going to see the sunrise if that's the case, because it's going to be one hell of a party.
Yes.
Dylan, I know there's a couple of folks on social besides asking for T-shirts and sweaters and everything else that are watching. Drop us a question or a comment. We got Caleb here for still a few minutes, so drop us a question or a comment. But I do see Mr. McLean's over there. What's he got?
Well, first, where's my sweater?
Didn't you get it? Didn't you get a sweater?
Holy
don't fit me.
What do you mean it doesn't fit you?
I got too big during third wave. I'm sorry.
What do you wear now? An extra large?
Yeah, I've always been extra large. Hey,
you have to account for his height.
That's true. We'll have to.
I mean, you're like maybe we'll have to switch with Craig Rogers. He got less fluffy. You got more fluffy. What do you got on? So we're getting off topic here.
Yeah, Caleb, it's good to have you here. I was going to comment, man. Your street stock is one of the sharpest looking, and I had to figure it had to be some sort of a Paul Minard tribute. I know some fans are hard for Minard. That's the saying that goes around. Tim just cracking up here, but okay, let's get to Robbie McLean.
It's get hard for Minard. You forgot the get on the front of it. Go ahead.
All right, fine.
Chris Overland would jump on me if it wasn't for that. Go ahead.
We'll have to get you a die cast for your Cats racing.
Oh yeah, for the off season or whenever we go in another lockdown. Hopefully never.
All those.
Let's get to Robbie McLean's question. Now, the promoter there at Oyster Bed, great dude. Got to hang out with him for a little bit a couple weekends ago. He wrote, "Are you coming to OBS for the 100 lap street stock race?"
I thought. I don't know. We really wanted to go June 12th. I don't remember if the bridge was closed or what happened, but something stopped us from going on June 12th. We had big plans to go a lot of places this year: Shediac, Miramichi, Petty, Oyster Bed, and COVID just kind of ruined it for us a little bit with restrictions and where you can travel and where you can't. But no, we were serious. We were looking at Airbnbs over there and really planning to go. So I don't know when the 100 lapper is he mentioned, but I think you'll see us there eventually for sure.
Where would you like to bring the street stock if you could go really anywhere?
Well, we're kind of kicking ourselves for missing the 5K to win Petty. That would have been fun. I'd love to race Petty. I'd love to race Miramichi. I was there with Tristan Harris last year, and it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like the wall comes up quick at a 4, but it looks like a really fun track. And Petty, of course, we're in the middle of moving right now, and we have like a month worth of work to do on our shop, and our house closes in 2 weeks. So we were working on that all weekend, so we had to miss the Petty race. So we have somewhere to work on the car, but I'd like to get up there soon too.
One of my first street stock memories last year in 2020 was during the Mike Stevens weekend. The street stocks were consistently 3 wide the entire time, even 4 wide. What do you think of that door handle racing at Petty with the street stocks?
It looks like so much fun. We'll get there eventually. I don't know when yet, but we're gonna be there. Just to try something new. Like, we've only raced 660. Seems like every time we have a plan to go somewhere, something happens, and it's gonna happen eventually. We're gonna do some traveling eventually, and I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Now, what if we ditch the street stock and hop into something else? Would you dabble in a mini stock, legend? Would anything really go if the offer was right?
My dad would love to have a couple legends. He always talked about trying to sell our car and buy 2 legends, but it's hard to race them around here. Petty would be the closest that they race them, other than Speed Weekend and maybe another date here, but mostly in Nova Scotia. So I think that kind of put the kibosh to that idea. The mini stock, I mean, that'd be cool to try one of those. They're kind of right in the middle of the street stock and a 4-cylinder. Obviously,
I'll tell you one.
No, not yours, Brandon.
Okay.
He doesn't want a lawn ornament. He wants a race car.
Yeah, I have you on Snapchat. I always see pictures of it in the driveway, and you're trying to sell it, and no one's bought it yet. There must be a reason.
Never mind.
Brandon.
Or anything bigger. Like, I'd love to try sportsman, anything pro stock. Like, driving race cars, you want to go fast, and just you always dream about racing the next fastest thing. I love the street stock though. I wouldn't want to race for points and anything else. I don't think. Just there's so much fun.
We'll throw it back to you, Timmy.
Yeah, so obviously Austin Hiscock still watching. Adam and the boys can't beat the fluorescent yellow. They know a thing or two about the yellow on their cars. We'll go forward a little bit from where Dylan was. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself racing a sportsman or a pro stock? Do you see yourself still in the street stock? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I wish I had a say in that decision, but I don't think I could run a competitive team on my own. I need my team. It seems like Evan's got himself a girlfriend now. Corey's getting married. We're moving further from the racetrack, and I mean, people just life will bring other priorities, and I need my dad and everyone on my team. So I'm gonna race as long as we possibly can, but you gotta, if one of the guys or a few of the guys can't do it anymore, it'll make it really hard. But you can't get mad at them. Life happens and life moves on. So we're gonna race as long as we can, and then I'll be involved in racing for sure as long as I can as a driver. And then when it's not possible for me to drive a car, I'll be involved with racing in some capacity, hopefully filming for Tim.
I wasn't going to go there yet, but we'll go there now. I want to thank you for helping us out. The first race at Petty, you and Denver knocked it out of the park, did some stuff in Miramichi last year. So thank you for that. Denver, we've got a pretty good camera guy on our hands when he decides to not go racing.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Who killed his mic? Tim, kill that guy's mic. But yeah, Caleb does a great job.
I'll send you all the screenshots of Brandon. He always seems to be muted on iRacing. I've got probably over 50. Can you unmute me?
I've got those too. Trust me.
But no, Caleb does a great job. We were very fortunate to have him join us for the restricted day at Petty, where there was only 50 people in the stands, and Tim, with you being in Nova Scotia, a bit of a different setup, a one camera shoot. So that was all him, and he did a great job and got footage for the fans that day, and it was some great racing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll throw the shameless plug out there that if you're looking to go watch that race or any of the races, you can go to timscorner.tv and sign up for your monthly on-demand subscription. You get access to everything that we've done so far. It doesn't include live races, but it does include the on-demands 48 hours after the show. So if you want to watch the triple this weekend, you might not be able to go to the racetrack at Halifax. You can go on the on demand on the monthly and grab that as well. Tickets are on sale, or passes are on sale, by the way, for the triple header weekend at Scotia. You can watch it all live on timscorner.tv. But excited, Caleb, to have you on the crew and maybe some of these specials. If you don't get out to the racetrack, at least with the race car, we'll have you on the camera side. But I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and go towards the Gunslinger coming up next week, because I know you've raced that a couple of times, and the Fredericton Gun Shop Sharpshooters as a whole, because that's where you got your start in racing. The progression in that division going to 25, 28, 30 something cars a week. How cool is it to see that division grow?
It's huge. I'd love to race it again this year. It was a lot of fun. We don't have a car, so the only reason I raced it last year is because I was asked. So I'd love to run it again this year. No car though, but that class is booming. Like, it's awesome. A lot of cars in there. Makes it exciting for sure. And there's Tim Holman, he's running well. Mitchell Harvey's running well. Adio, BJ always runs well. Matt Martin runs well. Like, there's a lot of guys that are really, really improving in that class too. Some of the guys, like, I mean, you go there any week and there's a really fast guys, but there's really anyone can win those races. Like, it's a pretty level playing field.
We'll make the last call on social right now, because I see Paul's getting ready to do some iRacing here at the top of the hour. So if you're looking for some racing, Paul, what are you racing? Loose lugs tonight?
Yeah, we've got the Loose Lugs Racing League coming back, race number 2 this season at Phoenix International Raceway, 125 miles. Really looking forward to it. Yeah,
so you can join them at Vidane.net. And by the way, and I'm going to throw Paul on the spotlight, because I know we got Caleb here, and Caleb's done a lot of our iRacing stuff as well. But we threw out the post earlier this week that we're doing some sim racing again in the winter. And I haven't had this conversation with you, Paul, but the response has been overwhelming. So I guess we're going racing again this winter with TCM and Vidane.
Good. Really looking forward to it. We had a blast last year. Kind of got everybody through the pandemic, entertaining the masses as we do at Vidane TV. And Tim's Corner Motorsports always brings the thunder. It's great to see a lot of Maritime Canada's good racers get together. And Brent Roy, he's okay, I guess. But looking forward to getting racing this fall, this winter. I know you got the tentative schedule sent over to my inbox. We're still working on that, making sure all the dates are clear, because we got the NEPS guys coming back too, as well as East Coast Winter League. So want to make sure we don't double book like we did quite a bit last year. But, man, looking forward to it, getting ready to do some iRacing action.
I did see Brent Roy testing with NEPS earlier this week, and he wasn't at the top of the board at Daytona. So, Caleb, is there any sort of pointers you can give to Mr. Roy about racing Daytona?
Nope. No. Don't lift. That's all I know about iRacing. That's just Daytona, mind you. But don't lift. Hold her wide open. I suck at iRacing. I'm not one to give points.
He won himself one super speedway race with NEPS back in the day. Brandon, do you have any pointers for any iRacers, since you apparently work for a setup shop now?
Well, Caleb's kind of a big deal. So if Caleb says don't lift, then I mean don't lift, right? But Brent is actually the master of super speedways, I heard.
That's a very loose term apparently these days.
He is Mr. Super Speedway.
Well, you are. By the way, didn't you miss the EPI Discord pizza party for this deal tonight?
Tyler didn't buy me pizza, so I'm not in there. I'm in here instead.
Neither did Brett. I saw you were asking Brett Suggs.
Yeah, Brett Suggs was going to buy the pizza too, and it didn't show up, so neither did I.
Oh, so is he buying it in Mooresville, or is he getting it shipped up?
No,
apparently nothing.
I wouldn't buy you pizza either.
Wow.
We had a good meal after the Scotia race, though, right?
Yeah, I tried whatever that strawberry thing you drink is.
And
it was good. It tasted like a strawberry smoothie of some sort.
See, there you go.
Tim, are you running your league this year? Your iRacing?
We're going to be doing some racing this year, and we're going to kick it off with the TCM 300 in November. As Paul mentioned, we're still trying to firm those dates up to try to make sure that we don't conflict and we don't step on any toes. But starting in November, TCM 300. Actually, I had a driver message me already this week asking about road racing. Most of those guys, Caleb, I'm sure you can probably attest to some of the guys you've seen on the racetrack. Some of them can barely turn left, let alone right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how exactly road racing is going to work.
Including me.
Yeah, well, I'm right there too. I'm the world's most okayest sim racer. Is that what's on the T-shirt, Brandon?
Most average, and actually 400 I rating is below average, I'd say. So,
wow.
Wow.
Your rating, Tim?
Wow, no, it's not. That's not even close.
Oh, 250.
3,000.
That's not even close. Wow.
No, mine's not 3,000. What am I saying? It's like 1,200.
This went from a crapping on Brent Roy party to a crapping on me party. We gotta close this show off. We got 10 more minutes left anyway. Caleb, nice to see you tonight. Good to have you on. No, just kidding. I want to talk about, you talked about the team earlier. And you talked about everybody getting girlfriends and having babies and all that other stuff. But who is on this crew that helps you get to the racetrack? Because number one, I know they help a lot with this race car. And number two, you've got them outfitted with some sharp threads. So who's on the team?
Dad, he's huge for us. Corey Perry, you're familiar with him. Cody Hetherington and Evan Morgan and Alex Condley is our main group. Always fun to have Alex around too. And it's a small, but it's a tight group. And we have another guy, Ryan McDonald. He's only been to one race this year, but he's a hell of a mechanic. He's a mechanic, and he's awesome at what he does. And he comes to the shop and he helps us with the shop. He was actually here tonight, but he's coming to the 100 this weekend, so we're looking forward to having him there. And we're trying to get him to come out on the track if we get on the podium. I think he was there for our last podium, but he said he didn't feel like he was really part of the team, so he didn't come, but he definitely is, so we're trying to get him there too. But eventually we're working on getting him to the racetrack weekly.
Denver, anything else you want to throw, Caleb, before we close this one off?
Well, Caleb, I want to wish you good luck this weekend. It's a big race, and I know you're going to put on a hell of a show, and it's going to be a tough field. It's going to be an exciting one, to say the least.
I hope you're right about putting on a show. So thank you. You're right, though. It is definitely going to be a tough field. Brad McLean, Justin Cole, Sean Heislip, Mike Cormier. I'm assuming James Matchett will be there, just to name a few. So Riley Goodwin, I mean, obviously leading the points. He's not going to be, he won't be too bad himself either, I'm assuming. So there's going to be a whole bunch of good cars there. So we're hoping for an awesome run.
Before I throw it back to Tim, I'm looking at the weather. It looks like it's going to be a hot day for Saturday for 100 laps. How do you prepare to run in the heat?
Like I told Tim, just a lot of water. We've been having trouble with our car overheating a little bit. So I'm hoping. I saw Sunday was supposed to be a little cooler. Chance of rain, but Sunday was a little cooler. So selfishly, if it does end up raining Saturday, it might be a little cooler for the car Sunday. If they do have the rain date, but just a lot of water, keep cool, keeping the shade in the trailer, and keeping cool is everything. Other than that, it's another week.
Dylan, I think social's kind of calmed down there, but any final thoughts before we close this one off?
Yeah, just Denver reminded me that it is going to be a hot weekend all across the Maritime. So race fans, no matter if you're at your 660 or you're at Scotia, remember to hydrate. And Caleb, do you have one of those cool shirts that some of the boys and girls have, and the cool box and everything? How do you keep cool in the car when it's going to be hotter than Satan's toenails?
I've good one. I've got an air system in my helmet. No ice box, no cool shirt, but I do have an air system for my helmet, and that is huge. Dad doesn't like giving it to me every week. He says I'll be spoiled if I use it every week, but I like using it every week, no matter how hot it is, because it's always hot in a race car, but it's especially nice for the long distance races.
Now you should say this to your dad. Do you like air conditioning?
Yeah, he's watching this right now too, so he's thinking to himself how much he likes air conditioning.
Hey, I wish you the best of luck, Caleb. Love to see you race in Nova Scotia, but I'm going to get to see you real soon because the vintage guys are coming to Speed Weekend at 660. Isn't that great?
I saw that, and the guys were here tonight working on the car, and I was in the house for a minute, and I checked my phone, and I saw that, and I was out telling them, and pretty excited for that too. So it's going to be awesome. I love those friggin' cars. They're so much fun.
How do you think they're going to run at 660? I mean, we're just getting to Scotia for the first time. We've only been really racing at high bank tracks. What do you think they're going to do on a flatter bank?
I watched the Riverside live race the other week, and that was awesome. That was a great race, and it seems like they're getting more cars every week. So I think they're going to have a good field by Speed Weekend, and they did in Riverside, and those cars they're so fun to watch, and they're quite a level playing field too. I hope it's a great show. I don't know what to expect, but I hope it's awesome. I think
going to be a good time either way at Scotia or at 660, and then Petty for the finale, Tim.
Yeah, it's going to be a great little schedule for the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics presented by or powered by Conrad Brothers. Caleb, before we let you go, we talked about the crew. Let's talk about the sponsors because I know they make the car look good. Who makes it happen for you?
Oh yeah, no, we definitely couldn't do without them. Huge thanks to my sponsors: Five Star Kitchens, Classic Stoves and Fireplaces, Robert Curtis Realty, Lakeshore Fuels, Grand Lake Electric, Urquhart Construction. Did I say Classic Stoves and Fireplaces? I feel like I did. Justin Charters Plumbing and Heating, Cut Above Painting, Saunders Roofing, Lakeshore Fuels, and Northside Foundations.
It's a great group of marketing partners, and you got a great team in behind you. Caleb, we wish you all the best this weekend. Go out and get that checkered flag in the big race.
For sure, buddy. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
That's Caleb Urquhart, driver of the number 11. We want to thank all of our marketing partners that helped put on this show as well, and throughout our season on Tim's Corner TV. You can see them all on the screen. Adio Tire included in that, Brent Enterprise, A.E. McKay Builders, and list goes on and on of those that have helped out. Denver, the Turkeytown Mud Bog runs this weekend as well. Want to say hello to Doug Jago and the crew up in Bathurst for helping us out this season as well. Boys, going to be a busy weekend. Obviously, me and Dylan are going to be at Scotia for the triple. Denver, wish you guys could make it, but I heard there might be a trip to Nova Scotia in the future that's not necessarily this weekend.
That is the plan. I had said all along there would be a trip. It would either be the doubleheader at Scotia or the August 21st race at Riverside. So given the current plans, Riverside on August 21st. I haven't been to Riverside since 2018. So I'm excited to get back to Riverside as long as the stars align and nothing else changes. But it's going to be a great weekend at Scotia Speedworld, I'm sure. Wish we could be there. Doubleheaders are not very common, especially for pro stocks in these ranks in this area. So it's going to be exciting.
3 races for us this weekend.
3 for you, 2 for pro stock.
You know what? It's funny. I talked to some of the guys at Lake Doucette, and they're excited because I know some of the fans are going to come up and watch. And Dylan, I know you can echo this. Looking at the graphics that we had on the TV side, I get tired looking at that graphic where we have 3 races in the same weekend, but it's 20 minutes from home. It's not a 7-hour drive that we had to make from Miramichi, or I had to make from Miramichi to Lake Doucette. And I know Murray Pierce had said the same thing because he went up to Petty to watch the races at Petty and then drove all the way back down. We've done that trip before. I know Brittany Hoy can attest to it. She's done that trip from PEI to Lake Doucette before. It's not a fun trip, but it's just time and it's just miles. And before we close this off, want to thank everybody, JP Arsenault, Barb, everybody on the Southwest Stock Car Association committee for welcoming us once again with open arms. I'm already looking at August 22nd because I know I can't make the next 2 races after that in September. But Dylan, your first time at Lake Doucette, before we close this off, what were your first impressions of that racetrack?
You know what? I better have my mic turned on. I'm already checked out here. Lake Doucette Motor Speedway was so fun. Funny enough, I actually had a TikTok video that went a little viral showing off Lake Doucette. So if you follow me on TikTok, you may see that video. The Dylan Langell, by the way. But it was a fun time. I mean, you and I and Steve Austin hanging out in the flag stand. We announced the mini stock race from the flag stand. Never done that. The racing was solid. The people were great. Saw a lot of old friends I haven't seen since 2019 because of the pandemic. So it was kind of like a reunion down on the French shore. And to talk about Scotia Speedworld, I mean, yeah, it's 20 minutes down the road from me. I get to sleep in my own bed for 3 nights in a row, which is going to be pretty fun and pretty special too with the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics with me being the announcer. We didn't get to Scotia last year. So it's pretty special in that case. And we're going to have 2 great pro stock races, great Friday night racing, and the undercards as well. If you can get a ticket for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, by chance, do all 3. You're not going to regret it. And if you can't come, watch it on timscorner.tv. Going to be a fun weekend.
And we got some specials going on as well with weekend passes per se. We talked to the tour and tried to chisel off a couple of dollars on the pay-per-view side of things as well. So head over there, check that out. If you don't have a monthly subscription, the live races aren't included, but we'd love to have you on that side as well. And a portion of the proceeds go back to whatever racetrack we're at, whether it is Scotia Speedworld, Riverside Speedway, Speedway 660, Petty Raceway, Speedway Miramichi, wherever they allow us to go. So join us for the triple. If you're in New Brunswick, be sure to get to Speedway 660 for their race this weekend, the Urquhart Construction 100. This weekend on Saturday with Oyster Bed Speedway with the East Coast Mini Stock Tour presented by Passion Flooring and Interiors, the Byrne Plumbing, and Big J's Carpentry 50. Going to be a big weekend. Get out to a racetrack. It's going to be hot. It's going to be some good weather. Enjoy some racing because who knows what's going to happen next weekend with all the weather and everything else. Boys, this has been fun. We'll do it again next week. Want to thank Paul Strickland Jr. from Vidane TV for once again pushing all our buttons and getting us on the air here this evening. So for Dylan Langell, Denver Matchett, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you Friday night at Scotia Speedworld. Until then, keep the hammer down and we'll see you at the track.